Hey, what's up, everybody? Pat here, great recovering alcoholic and addict, just like every day, my friends. Guys, please don't forget to subscribe, leave the video a like, drop me a comment, and by all means, share it with somebody who might get something out of it. Other than that, we're going to get right into it. What a hot day. I think the highest my truck read today was 102 degrees. It felt like an oven every time I got out of my truck. But you know what? That's part of life in New England, guys. We get the beauty of all the seasons, and some days when it's hot, you just, I tried to plan accordingly. One thing I've noticed is that my garage, being as it's shade and it's got an open basement that lets almost like natural air conditioning in, I try to schedule, it just really worked out that I had a bunch of mechanical work to do today, so I spent the day in my garage, so I wasn't, out in the hot sun baking all day. And that's the beauty of my life today, guys, is I pay attention and I make good decisions, and I'm able to schedule my work by the freedom I have by stepping out of my comfort zone and opening the business and just trying to be the best person I can at all times and just do things that make the most sense. Everything I have today, guys, is because I'm willing to do the work and I'm willing to be introspective and take leaps of faith and try to make the best decisions I can. And today, it's part of what we're going to talk about, guys. The Just for Today NA meditation is titled Expectations. And this is something that's been a big change in my life. I used to have all these just crazy expectations, and that's one thing I don't have today, guys. I've let a lot of my definitions of things go, and it's part of why things go so well for me today. But anyway, let's go ahead and read it, and then we'll talk about it. Expectations. As we realize our need to be forgiven, we tend to be more forgiving. Our behavior towards other people in our life is a mirror of our behavior towards ourselves. That I totally believe. When we demand perfection from ourselves, we come to demand it from others around us too. As we strive to repair and heal our lives in recovery, we may also expect others to work just as hard and to recover at the same rate as we do. That's not realistic. And just as we are often unforgiving about our own mistakes, we may shut out friends and family when they don't meet our expectations. Working our recovery program helps us to understand our own limitations and our own humanity. We come to see our failures as human mistakes. We realize we will never be perfect, that we will at times disappoint ourselves and others. We hope for forgiveness. As we learn to gently accept ourselves, we can start to view others with the same accepting, tolerant heart. These people too are only human, trying to do the best and sometimes falling short. Just for today, I will treat others with the same tolerance and forgiveness I seek for myself. And guys, that's huge, right? I was certainly guilty of this many, many times around. And again, these are all the reasons why things go as well as they do for me today, why I'm as accepted and as welcome today, because I try to see things from other people's point of views. I've also tried to be more tolerant and gentle of myself, because I was somebody that always, and I still probably do, I like to hold myself to a higher standard, and again, it's funny, because I'd hold myself to higher standards, like I could do more work, I could produce more, I could do jobs that normally take two people to do, I could do for myself, and I expected that of myself all the time. And then yet I would give myself no credit for doing these things and didn't look at myself in a healthy light. And I've tried to erase that, because as I've said probably 1,000 times, if not more, the two most important relationships you have are with your higher power and then with yourself, guys. You teach the world around you how to treat you. So if you notice when people aren't treating you all that great, it's probably because you're not treating yourself all that great. And again, I'm not saying this to call anybody out. I'm saying this to let you know that all these things can be fixed. It's not that difficult to start creating a situation where you're changing your life for the better. I know I certainly am, and I'm loving the results of it today, guys. I'm constantly in awe at how different my life has become in these 6 months and how hopeful I am. The beautiful opportunities that are being offered to me at every turn are amazing, and it's because I'm not being so demanding of myself. Like when I'm tired, I sleep. I get up this morning. I knew I was working in the garage. I knew it was going to be a hot day, and I went to bed early last night. But I was just tired. I've had a hard couple of days, and I was exhausted. So I get up this morning. I made a couple of phone calls. I scheduled a couple of things, and I went back to bed for 2 hours, and I took a nice 2-hour nap. And again, I didn't let that bother me. I'd get up at 11, 10 o'clock, got my coffee, did what I had to do, and went out and had a very productive day. I went to the gym, had a fantastic workout, guys. Felt really, really good. And these are the things, guys. I don't put on unrealistic expectations on anything. I do set goals. I challenge myself to do everything I can within reason, right? But I that's the difference today, guys. I put reasonable expectations. If anything, I actually probably underschedule, because one thing I notice is that by trying to schedule things on paper, things never go the way they do on paper. Everything always takes longer. You can't always take into consideration where there's going to be a traffic jam, where there's going to be road construction, where a part might be wrong. So if you schedule your day to get 8 hours on paper done, you're going to be out there for 12 to 14 hours, and I don't do that anymore. I used to do that all the time. I would schedule my day and then I would work till 8, 9 o'clock at night. I don't anymore. By 3, 4 o'clock, I wipe out my day. I go to the gym. I come back and do my videos. If I have a job cancel in the middle of the day, rather than running right to the next one, I go and I get my workout in. Like, I find balance today, guys, right? And I forgive others. I don't hold anybody to any expectations. If you make a promise to me, then yes, I'm going to hold you to the promise that you made. But if you call and tell me that something didn't go, I don't get upset, and I don't hold anybody to a higher standard, right? I give people forgiveness. I understand. Like, I've made tons and tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of mistakes over the years. I still make mistakes, but I forgive myself. And then I try to make amends for them immediately. I try to make up for them. You guys been following me since the beginning. You saw many situations where my former life came up, and I got called out on something I did wrong, or like when I took money to move that oil, and then my truck broke down, and I ended up in rehab. So I went and I did that job for free. And then there was an extra tank, so I did like an extra. First of all, I way undercharged them. I only charged them like $300 to do $1,000 worth of work. And then there was an opportunity for them to get another $1,000 with the home heating oil, and I moved all that for free. I made amends on that, and because of that, that family is now still a customer of mine. Like, I made up for that, and that felt amazing, guys, because that was one thing that was really bothering me. I didn't know if it was going to end up, being a knock at my door from the police and be charged with stealing. Like, I didn't know. I knew it was an outstanding debt, and I should have went and handled it myself. But I did wait for them to come to me. But the second they did, I went and made amends on it. And I love myself for that today. And that showed me very early on. And believe me, that $300 cost me about 4 days of nasty, hard, cold, shitty, like getting covered in diesel fuel. It was brutal. It was ridiculous. But I made the agreement back when I was high and needed money to get high. And so I honored it. And I made it right. And I love myself for that today. Today, I no longer make those kind of mistakes because I know my value. I stop and I pay attention to the things that I'm doing. And even then, I get signs all the time that I'm still not charging quite as much as I'm worth, because I get tipped by customers left and right because they know I go over and above and I give them a fair price. And I give what I consider a fair price. I think I'm a little on the low side of things. But that's okay. I don't mind that because I enjoy getting tips. I love that people know I'm right on top of things. I show up when I say I'm going to show up. I do a job for the price I quote them. And they're always happy with the work, and I love getting a tip on top of it. And down the road, I'll start charging more. But for the moment, I'm making more money than I ever have. I'm saving more money than I ever have. Like, everything in my life is just expanding in the most beautiful ways. I have something coming up next month that, as it happens, I will explain with everybody. But we'll wait until we cross that bridge, because I don't know how it's going to go or what's going to happen, so I don't want to talk about it ahead of time. But it's a huge part of something that I've been dealing with for close to 30 years, that I now am finally in an opportunity to make right, and it's going to be expensive. It could very well cost half of what I've saved, and that's okay, because it's going to give me the ability to move forward and put a huge chapter of my life behind me, and I'm so excited for it. Just the fact that, and the thing is, guys, if I wasn't doing all the things that I'm doing, I wouldn't have that opportunity. This is something I've been trying to rectify for 20 years. And I never could, because I was never living a clean, sober, spiritual, proper life. But now, in 6 months, I've made more progress than I was able to in the past 20 years, including opportunities where I had good things going. I was trying to stay sober and trying to do things right. But I couldn't, because I wasn't being completely right. And it's one of those things. It's literally the last part of my former life that I put to bed that's going to open up amazing new opportunities and doors and avenues, and I'm so excited for the opportunity to. And I love the fact that I've been given the opportunity, because now I look back at it, guys, and I'll explain all this as we go further once I know what the parameters actually are. But I notice now that this is something God put in my way for years, even before I got clean. It has to do with cleaning up my former my record, and for somebody that has the record I have, I will say this much: I'd never beat a case on anything. I was always found guilty, always plea bargained everything out. And then all of a sudden, the last couple of cases that I had, which are like back in 2014 to 2017, and they were kind of bullshit cases, really. But again, I fully expected to get convicted on them, because I always get convicted. Court reporter and lawyers all of a sudden were going to bat for me, like, no, we can beat this case. And it got dragged out for quite some time. But they got dragged out to the point where finally the lawyer said, listen, if they're not ready, this has been blah, 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 and they got dismissed. And now I look at it and realize, because I just always listened to what other people said and just didn't think my record mattered, that I always allowed a conviction. And now finally I listen to somebody that's saying, no, this does matter, you don't want that on the record. And because I did the little bit extra work and I paid attention and I took a leap of faith and ran it out and gambled a little bit on my behalf, those are no longer on my record. They're no longer convictions. So now I've got a long enough length of time where I can go straighten some things out for the first time and then open more doors as I go further down the line. But we'll talk about them when I find out about them in a couple of weeks. But guys, I'm so incredibly grateful for this. And this is all because I've had reasonable expectations. I've been willing to forgive myself, willing to forgive others, and then not hold others. Again, I'm cautious to say certain things, but you know what, guys, I am willing to admit I am chasing my recovery as hard as I once chased the drugs, and not many people do that, but I do. I do these videos every day. I post on TikTok. I go to my home group. Riverside Recovery. I meet with my therapist. Like, I make a lot of concessions during the week. It's not even concessions, because this is what's given me the opportunities that I'm given. But I don't expect anybody else in any group I go to be at the same level that I am, and that's why I feel like I got an opportunity to share my story and teach others, and I'm willing to do so. And if somebody makes a mistake, I don't grill them on it. I let them know, just listen, do what you got to do to make it not happen again. Let's arrest this behavior, because if you're just going to choose to go get high, then I can no longer help you. But as long as it's, I'm not going to hold you to some unreasonable standard, and if you make a mistake, I'm going to forgive you. Whether you make that mistake against me or against somebody else, I'm going to help you make it right, so long as you're willing to do so. And I'm going to forgive you. I've forgiven myself, because the only thing huge part of moving forward was my ability to finally forgive myself for all the mistakes I made. Because I realized that I was holding myself in a situation where I was repeating all the mistakes I was so angry at myself for, because I wasn't willing to move past them. I was letting them own so much space in my head that it was causing me to repeat them. And that makes no sense at all. If I was so mad about doing it once, why would I want to do it 3 or 4 more times? Because I'm not willing to let it go from the first time. But I never saw it that way, guys. I was never being introspective. I was never paying attention to the reality that life is. And that's huge today, guys. And the thing is, I always felt reality was going to be so scary. No, man, it's not. It's beautiful. Because I'm coming at it from the right direction. I'm coming at it with the right energy, and any one of us can. And it's amazing, the ease and the peace. And that's one thing that's funny, guys. When I said that in rehab early on, I'm like, I just want to have peace, because I never did, guys. I felt terrible about who I was. I would never have gotten on video and talked about how I felt and how I saw myself, because I saw myself in such a terrible light. I felt so terrible about the person that I was and the things that I was doing. And it's one thing I talked about. We were talking about peace and ease in rehab, and I'm like, I've never had a moment of peace in my life. I would love to have peace of mind, peace of hope, just peace. And I have that today, and that's beautiful. And things are getting busier, and that was my other concern early on. Like, I wasn't doing a whole lot when I first got out of rehab. Like, what's it going to look like 6 months from now when my life is getting busy and I get the business and I'm making money and I got responsibilities? Well, here we are. And it's only getting better. But one thing I've noticed is I've put my recovery first. I've learned to say no. I've learned that no is a complete sentence, And I've learned to just tell people straight up, listen, this is what it is. And I'm very open about it. I got no problem telling anybody, no, listen, I'm a recovering addict. I have certain responsibilities to myself to put my recovery first that I may not be able to be there, certain times of the week, like my Friday from 12 to 1, I'm at my AA group. Thursday from 10:30 to 11:15, I'm meeting with my therapist. Thursday from 11:15 to 11:45, I'm meeting with my recovery advisor. Most days between 4 and 5 or 5 and 6, I'm posting a video on YouTube, and I let everybody know these things. Like, these are my Sunday from 11 to 12, I'm in church. These are the most important things in my life. They're my recovery program. And those are my absolute guarantees. And I had no problem telling anybody. And I won't make now again, I do have certain responsibilities. If I have water pouring out of a ceiling or a gas leak at one of the buildings that I manage, then yes, that takes priority, and I will have to skip one of my appointments, and I will reschedule. But that's very rare. And if on the rare occasion happens, that's fine. I'm willing to do that. But short of an actual emergency, I won't change it, because I got to put my needs first. So long as I put my needs first and then help others and don't impose my will on other people, then things are going to continue to progress, and I'm so incredibly grateful for it, guys. One thing I absolutely do is I have found a state of gratitude, and I love it. I'm grateful for the life I've been given, the opportunities I'm being given, the ability to overcome the challenges that I'm overcoming, the ability to reinvent myself and find out who I truly am, and then fall in love with the person that I am. Like, these are things I never ever thought I would have in my life, and I do today. And I love that. And that's why I get on here and share it with everybody, because every one of us can do this. It's just a matter of seeing what your situation is, realizing what your accountability in it is, and then changing those behaviors, changing those thought patterns, expecting the best instead of constantly expecting the worst, because what you expect, you're more than likely going to get. So if you're expecting the worst, you're going to find it. If you expect the best, you might just find that too. And it may not always come in the form that you expect it, but that just means something better or high. It's more for your higher good. We don't always know what's best for us. I know I certainly haven't, but I'm getting much better at it, and I love that. Guys, that's the video for today. Thank you so very much for being here. Always remember, God loves you. I love you. We'll see you in the next one.